Hello everyone. Kānshi G is a modern meditation and spiritual guide who brings the scientific and practical understanding of the old wisdom to the modern era, to the modern society. He has studied postgraduate in computer science and he has held various positions, senior positions in multinationals. So let's welcome Kānshi Ji.
Namaste.
So to begin with, senior positions in MNCs and then spiritualism and meditation, it usually doesn't go hand in hand. How did this transformation happen?
Yeah, so to begin with, it started when I was quite young.
Okay.
So exactly I don't remember when it started, but informal, my calculation is that it started around when I was 13 to 14 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't happen as a spiritual journey at the onset, but it started like an inquiry. So it was more like a questioning,
Okay.
which was disturbing me at that point, as a child. So the questions were fundamental questions about life and death, more like what happens after death, and is there life after death, and those kind of lot of questions. What happens to the soul after the death? Will I feel? It was more like, if I have to explain further, it's like the feeling of aliveness.
Okay.
Will it remain after I die, or will that feeling just disappear? And so I used to jump up at the middle of the night, and I was not able to comprehend what is happening.
Okay.
So luckily, I never asked or discussed this with any of the elders.
Okay.
Otherwise, this entire thing would have been finished at the
That stage itself.
at the stage. It's like a nip of the bud.
Yeah.
So that good thing happened that I just kept it as a secret,
Okay.
and underwent that questioning myself. And after some time, it went off.
Okay.
Maybe deep inside that remained.
Okay.
And my formal spiritual search started when I was in my 10th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. When I first, picked up a book in my friend's house, which is a very famous, very popular spiritual book all around the world.
Okay.
That is the first formal beginning. Before that, I had read a lot of literature.
Okay. Which book was that?
So, it is immaterial, but yes,
Okay.
the book, the book was a very famous book. Most of the spiritual aspirants all over the world
Go through that.
have begun their journey with that book.
Okay.
So it's called Autobiography of a Yogi.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it started from that book. Then I started inquiring formal methods to get initiated. So even though everything was mentioned in the book doesn't mention any practice, or so it just gives you a direction.
Okay.
Then I was in a very constant search,
Okay.
which spanned 14-15 years after that.
Okay.
And it was an intense roller coaster spiritual journey.
Since then.
Yeah, since then.
So, lot of you just spoke about the inside element. Now, mind is certainly a factor for all these thought process, everything, and there are a lot of definitions of mind out there. People think it's brain. People think it's a software in our body. Some associate it with conscious, subconscious, etc. How do you define mind? What is mind for you?
So yeah, it is. We always use this word mind almost in every sentence we talk.
Correct.
But unfortunately, nobody understands what mind is.
Yeah.
So you can give lectures on mind for hours.
Yeah.
And I've seen NLP trainers, just like when we were also into training and coaching, even you are into coaching, we use this word mind, umpteen number of times. But nobody, if you ask directly a question, like if I ask you that, can you pinpoint where mind is?
Yeah.
So there is
not there.
no particular tangible thing that you can refer to.
Yeah.
So mind is a mystery. But the problem is that people don't confront this question in their life.
Okay.
Many people die even without knowing what mind
What
is.
exactly is.
See. So the spiritual path, or the path of inquiry, begins for a person when they have the guts to question
challenge.
their own thoughts, their own thought processes, their mind patterns, and ultimately you question what is mind. Okay. So as per one definition, not definition, but what Adi Guru Shankaracharya said in his very famous text, is that mind is Maya.
Okay.
Okay, and what it means is mind cannot be explained.
Okay.
That is the meaning. And any attempts to understand mind is going to be futile.
Okay.
That is what the element is. But still, for the common parlance and for understanding of normal people, I simply, say that mind is nothing but a bunch of thoughts.
Okay.
That is the easiest way you can understand mind.
Okay.
And as you said, people refer to brain as similar to mind. So brain is just like some organ, like a transmitter or a receiver kind of a thing, which is operating on the waves which mind is going to give you.
Generate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So mind is more like imaginary
Okay.
entity.
Yeah.
So it is actually non-existent, and this mind is something which drives the entire humanity crazy by being not even real.
Yeah. That's why
So
probably
that
they
is
say
the biggest
monkey mind.
that's the biggest
Yeah.
paradox.
Okay. So you touched upon spirituality, Kanshiji. Now there is a general notion that spiritual practices are not very practical. It cannot be done while doing day-to-day activities. A lot of people clearly demarcate these two things. But I still feel that it's complementing each other. So how do you see that?
See, a very good question actually. Mind, I mean, so the spiritual journey, if it is of no use to your present lifestyle, I would say there is no point in doing it.
Exactly.
Right. So people, you don't do spirituality, you don't go into a meditational path just because you want to do something else. You do it because you are not happy in this current lifestyle. You want some change. You want some kind of a freedom, or you want to know the ultimate truth. So these are the things, and I personally feel that meditation should be part of your daily lifestyle. And the entire research, so, I went through multiple paths, and at one point I was just bringing the entire essence of all these paths and trying to figure out how we can make it more simple, how this can be integrated into a person's lifestyle. Otherwise, you are not going to reap benefits out of the practice. So the ultimate aim is to make it part of your life, and when I speak to you, at the same moment I can be still in meditation. So it doesn't require you to sit separately in a closed room for 4 hours, as people's notions might be, from long time people have been thinking like that. So they think that my life is not going to give me that opportunity to spend so much time, in an isolated environment, as you said. But that is because of a wrong notion that meditation is something separate and you are something separate. So it is an integrated whole. And your understanding of meditation is your understanding of your own mind. So if you ask me in 15 years, 20 years what I did in all the practices, I have only identified and understood my own mind.
Okay. So maybe the way you, because you have traveled through that path, the way you understand meditation and the way we comprehend meditation is very different. So for example, now a lot of people keep saying that stress is an integral part of us, right? Everybody goes through it and everybody keeps cribbing about it. And a lot of people say that meditation, if you do meditation, then it will have a good impact on the stress or stress management. How do you look at this?
So yeah, Gopakumar, I disagree with this statement that stress is an integral part of your life. People have made it an integral part of their life.
Maybe.
So it is a choice, So what is stress? Before we enter that very deep question, we need to understand what is stress. Now, stress is, in very simple terms, if I have to say, and I am able to tell this in a few sentences, is because I have myself refined it over a period of time. Once I went deeper. So I am able to give you in a nutshell. But if you personally probe, I think it will take more layers for you to reach this conclusion. And you might even not reach also. It depends on So stress is something like, for example, you want a particular situation and existence has something else in store for you. So that friction is stress. But if you accept that situation humbly, there is no stress. So suppose you want X and existence wants to give you Y at a particular moment. You don't want Y, you discard
want
it,
X, yeah.
you want X,
Yeah.
you don't get X, and you discard the Y. There is instant friction.
That is
And that is what is stress.
Okay.
So, what are the best options? Primarily to accept what is there in the present moment.
Yeah.
So, mind, in my definition, mind is like future plus past. So, mind is only your past plus future.
Yeah.
Present is never a part of your mind.
Okay.
And I don't know how much science would have reached this conclusion. Maybe it is inching towards such a conclusion based on what I see as experiments around this consciousness and all. But mind is nothing but past and only future. So it always remains in imagination about something which happened 10 years before,
Or the future.
or what is going to anticipations about what is going to happen in the future. So this sum total is known as mind, and you as a person are always in the present moment, but mind takes you in
Here and there.
it takes you to and fro, and never allowing you to be in the present, and that is the entire struggle, that is the entire stress.
Okay. And I think science also says that if you think about the past, then it's basically depression. And if you think about the future, then it's anxiety.
Yeah.
So if you be in the present,
Yeah.
you're already stress-free.
So that only happens when you are not in the mind. Now, if you ask me how to, I am not getting time for meditation, or how I want to sit in meditation. Some people say I do 3 hours of meditation. So that is actually an impossible thing, because meditation itself means not doing. So how can you do 5 hours of not doing anything? So it is, there's a slight perception problem. Most of the people who have a ritual, a spiritual ritual or a personal ritual, like you spend some 1 hour, 2 hour in meditation or some yoga or whatever it is, most of the people think that doing that activity is that act. But the funny part is 2 hours of pranayam and some kind of a meditation, whatever they practice, the end point, the culmination of that, when your entire system becomes still, that is when real meditation starts, and that is when they stop and leave.
Okay, understood. So the real meditation, what we think is sitting quietly, is not even a beginning of meditation.
So the entire process of what we call meditation in the normal people, what they say is the act of doing that. Suppose it's taking 1,000 pranayams, or breath work, or talking about chanting some kind of a syllable. These are all acts, and these acts are designed
Leads to meditation.
leads to, in the sense, the mind, to understand a little bit, I have to go deeper. Mind has one problem, that it can't do same thing repeatedly.
Okay.
So mind has this impediment. You cannot do one thing repeatedly for long hours. It gets bored. So mind always wants to leave that place and do something else.
Okay.
So what meditational methods our ancient masters have created fantastically is that they make use of this feature or this parameter. So every meditation act, if you look, whether it be based on breath work or based on some syllable chanting or based on whatever it is, everything is based on repetition of one thing again and again. Okay. So that makes your mind totally restless, and it just wants to run away. You don't allow. You keep on doing the same thing. At one point, it just drops. And that is the moment you have to be just still and maintain that stillness as far as possible. The entire process of meditation is based on that. But people will do this for 2 hours, 3 hours. At the end of the time, when the mind is about to drop or get stilled, they will just get up and go for the work. So the entire thing is becoming a waste of your time and energy.
And then we keep thinking that why is meditation
not working for me? So that is the thing.
Yeah, that's an important thing.
So what I call that initial time is the preparation for meditation. So see, if you look at any of my previous talks also, I always compare sleep with meditation, or in every example I bring sleep, because sleep is a very good example in front of us, happening every day, which directs you towards what is happening with your mind. So how you prepare for sleep. If I ask you to sleep now, you cannot sleep.
Yeah.
Same way meditation. I am going for meditation means you can't go for meditation.
Okay.
You can prepare yourself for meditation, but meditation happens on its own.
Mm.
It enters you.
Okay.
You cannot do meditation, but meditation will enter you
Okay.
when there is a conducive environment.
Okay.
So in sleep, when you go to sleep or you prepare for sleep, but at best you can prepare.
Yeah.
So you can dim your lights, you can keep the books away, you can keep the mobile away,
Yeah.
and you can create
Lie in
an
the bed.
environment.
Yeah.
Then suddenly it
Sleep
comes.
happens.
You don't know when.
Okay.
Same way, meditation, you can do the preparation, you can do these kind of things
Mm.
till the time that mind just falls.
Okay.
The moment it falls, you are in that
Okay.
deep samadhi or meditation.
Okay. Valid point. So now, bringing it back to our, fast-paced life which we have here, especially in this geography, I've seen that it's a very mechanical life.
Mm.
So, what do you suggest that these are maybe one or two things which we can do to attain stillness or peace?
So, I mean, I've been to so many places. Everywhere it is the same story. Everyone is in a what do you call, in a rat race.
Yeah.
Rat race. So stillness. So beauty is that stillness that we want to achieve is not a far goal. It's not a further goal, because stillness is your innate nature. What you are in reality is nothing but stillness.
Yeah.
And that is why if you look at the terms used for enlightenment or all these kind of things, it's not about achieving or inventing. It is more about discovering. It is more like a what is already there, you are
You have
kind
to
of
just find it
out. So that is a good part, that you don't have to create stillness within you. It is already there. Only thing is you have to remove the obstacles which is not allowing you to be still. So that is the beauty. So now the thing becomes more easy. You are not going to invent anything. So now what is stealing your peace? That is the question. What is not allowing you to be in the status quo? What is disturbing your existence? Calmness. So it is your mind. So it is the thoughts about the past, about the future, as we said, is constantly driving you from morning till night and not allowing you to settle.
Yeah.
It does allow you to settle on its own as a virtue of its loss of energy at the end of the day.
Okay.
It automatically shuts down as a sleep, and the sleep is when you get the most deepest peace. Now, sleep again categorized, science has categorized into so many, like REM and NREM, and NREM consists of three different phases, and then there is waking state. So we won't get into all that, but in a simple term, there is waking state, there is dream state, and there is deep sleep state. For a common man, these three are enough. Now, deep sleep is around 2 to 3 to 4 hours, 2 to 3 primarily. That gives you the most calmness, and that energizes you, rejuvenates you. By the time morning, like a phone recharge, you become recharged. But if your sleep is not proper, if you haven't got the deep sleep, mostly in the morning you will feel very drowsy and you will feel very, you get up with a headache. So that deep sleep is when the mind is almost negligible, like your body doesn't have that mind, almost 5% you can say. 5% because it wants to do some regular tasks in the body, like breathing and circulation and all.
Some repair work.
Repair. So those things need your life force. So mind is again connected with the life force. Prana we say in Sanskrit. So it has to circulate and do the thing. So that much remains. The remaining is kind of not existing. That is why you have the maximum peace in sleep. And if you are given the best dishes of the world when you are asleep, you might simply throw it away. So that is the highest peace mankind has seen. And what I am talking in perspective to this is something very similar to that. But constantly in your waking state, you can achieve that.
So a state when what you attain in sleep, you attain when you're awake.
So Ramana Maharishi, I think, is a very famous, popular Jnana yogi. He once said, I think, enlightenment or awakening is nothing but sleep while you're awake, or be awake while you're asleep.
Yeah. Okay. So this leads me to another question, which is connected to yoga and mind. Now, meditation, yoga is something again like mind. It's this word has been used and misused and abused. Now, a lot of people think that it is restricted to the physical activities, which a lot of people keep doing. So, how is this yoga related to mind?
So yoga as the word itself, so as you said, rightly said, yoga has been kind of abused a lot, and that word has been used multiple ways. People immediately relate to not even in other countries, but even in India, which is the birthplace of yoga. People don't understand it to be something far, far more than what
Physical.
Yeah. So they take it as a very physical exercise kind of a thing, like. That is only one part of yoga, which is Hatha Yoga. So Hatha Yoga talks about your physical asanas and all those things, which became popularized, because of you can call the father of yoga, Hatha Yoga, which is Patanjali. So Patanjali in 400 AD kind of formalized it into physical activities, so which is just one small part of yoga. Now, it helps. If you ask me if it helps, it does help. But it only helps on a more body level. But you are much more than the body. Your entire things are functioning more on the mind level. So, my focus in all the methods and practices which we have formulated is more on mental aspects of the yoga than the physical. But little bit of physical yoga always helps. So, that understanding people need to have. And yoga, as a word in Sanskrit, it just means union.
Yoga.
So yoga is union. So union of what? It can be union of many things. You can call it union, merger of mind into your consciousness. So your mind is a very limited thing, and consciousness is the unlimited potential of the mind. So when the mind merges into that, so you become ChatGPT.
You have an answer
So
for
the entire universe becomes or it's in your fingertips. So that's why. So now we are in a very limited thing. So we consider ourselves to be a limited body, a limited mind. We are full of limitations, and we think we can't do many things. But the moment you get connected with this higher mind, you can call it, or consciousness, you just become supernatural actually in terms of productivity and things you can do. So it is not like 1,000 suns are going to burst in your head, as many books have defined this process. Nothing like that will happen. It is just very normal procedure. Awakening is not some big bang that is going to happen. So it is a very natural thing. What becomes is that you become neutral. So now we are biased, and our mind is differentiating between things. When the mind merges with with the higher mind, you become very natural, and you become you accept life as it is. So you have this. Your boss will remain the same. Your wife will remain the same. Your husband will remain the same. You will change.
So this brings me. I was about to ask that question of acceptance, because I was reading somewhere that that sense of acceptance itself can change you, because if you don't accept a situation, that can create a small negative emotion in you, and as soon as you accept a similar situation, a positive emotion can generate, because you have just accepted it. Like if it's angry, it can become tolerance. If it's fear, it can become adventure, just by the sense of acceptance.
So those are a little bit more, I think, on a peripheral level. They are not so much deeper as we think. So they are just like some time being temporary kind of some experience which might help you. But deeper down, nothing like that happens. So it is more, and when you say acceptance, saying it is very easy to accept. But unless your mind drops to zero, you cannot live a life of acceptance. So even 1% mind is left in your body, mind will differentiate. So
maybe you can do it for a couple of hours, and then you'll go back to your normal.
That is based on the pressure and with force you can do, but that is not natural. So you can suppress your feelings for 1 hour, 2 hour. Then the third hour is going to be the most terrible for you, because it will have the
2 hours.
Entire potential energy, kinetic energy of what was there before. So you can't hold that. So better to express when it is coming rather than holding it for 5 hours and then bursting out.
That may be even dangerous.
Yeah, it is more dangerous. So acceptance, word said so easy, but acceptance comes when you are in no mind. And no mind doesn't mean that you are insane. No mind doesn't mean zero mind, doesn't mean that you don't do any work. Without mind means the nauseating mind, the mind which doesn't allow you to work, the anticipating mind.
Yeah.
That mind is what we are trying to
Target.
drop.
Yeah.
So 90% of your thoughts in a day, say it is 1 lakh thoughts hitting you, 90,000 of the thoughts are useless.
Yes, it's true.
Okay, so they don't allow you to work properly. They clog your mind. They don't give you a clear vision of what is to be done. So once you know how to,
Eliminate those.
work along with that mind, and we are not actually eliminating also. That is another beautiful part. Many practices I've seen people do where they are forcing the mind to be silent for some time. We don't go, in my practice, we don't never do any kind of a forceful suppression.
Yeah.
We go with an accepting thing where we accept the thoughts but don't react to the thoughts.
Okay.
So thoughts try to take you to some other place. You acknowledge, observe, and leave it.
Okay.
You don't react.
Okay.
So that is the power of this practice, which we generally term as Jnana Yoga.
Okay.
Yeah, the path of wisdom.
Okay.
So it is just acknowledging, and so ideally, if I have to explain meditation, what we do in practices is first we slow down the thoughts. So thoughts bombarding you at 1 lakh thoughts hitting you a day, it in just so much speed, velocity, you don't have the time to even see the gaps or to say no, I don't want this thought. It just comes and you are already in that.
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing is to reduce the speed. Second thing is to, once the speed is reduced, you can see the gaps between two thoughts. So we call it mentation, so in scientific terms. So you can see the gap between two mentations.
Okay.
So the exact word in Sanskrit is sankalpa.
Okay.
So thought is different, sankalpa is different. So only one word I heard in English which can match is mentation.
Okay.
Some gentleman has used that, and I think it's an excellent word.
Right.
So mentation comes, sankalpa comes with some intention. It is an intentional thought.
Right.
So normal,
not a random thought.
It is not a random thought. Something which you created. So the gap between the thoughts are visible to you now. Now you have a opportunity to increase the gap. So next stage of yoga and practices help you to identify the gap and then increase the gap.
Okay.
Now when you increase the gap, one wondrous thing happens after some time. You keep practicing for 2 years, 3 years, and down the line what happens? Every day you come, you increase the gap, next day it comes back. So again you practice, you again increase. This goes on, but there is a magical threshold after which it doesn't come back.
It's like that elasticity of a rubber band, right? You
Yeah,
keep pulling, and one stage it will not come back.
No, but that it will break after some time.
Okay.
I'm saying here you can stop the practice, it doesn't come back.
Okay.
So that is the place where your mind should be while you are working in a high productive job. So now you have the thoughts coming at a particular, it just reaches here and stops. You have the liberty to pick and choose which thoughts you want to work with.
Act on.
So that is like, high power, I would say, for a person. Now mind is kind of working like a master when it has to be a slave. You bring it back to the slave stage and you become the master. That is the entire process.
Okay. So is this what we call mindfulness? This is another word which has been used across. So is it something to do with a practice or a meditation, or it's like a state of being without any mind?
Yeah, so it's just a state. But again, I am not happy with the word usage, because mindfulness means emptying the mind. I don't know why they use the word fullness.
Exactly.
So it is actually the opposite.
Yeah.
It's you are emptying the mind.
Yeah.
So mindfulness is a state where there is no mind. So you empty yourself of the thoughts.
Okay.
And what remains is your pure consciousness, the stillness which is already there. So you become mindful. Yeah, and sometimes we see, and one more thing is there. Maybe mindfulness you can relate more easier with another word, which is becoming more aware.
Okay.
So we say, be mindful of that step.
Yeah.
So what it
Be
means
aware.
is be aware or be more conscious about that
Okay.
thing. So when you achieve mindfulness through practice or yoga or whatever you do, that state, what is happening is you are becoming more aware.
Okay.
So as a human being today, we people might find it difficult to accept, but we are living an unconscious life. So we start our day in the morning and we are doing things unconsciously, more like a robotic.
Correct.
So we are trying to make computers filled with more emotional reactions. We want them to become like humans, and we are becoming more like robots. It's a tragedy which is happening. So aware and become more human, which is our nature. So mindfulness helps you to become accept the what is there, be present to that moment. And present itself word like a gift. So you accept what is there, and you become more aware. So generally when we are talking, or we are doing we are eating some food, or we are walking or taking a bath, we are not there. Our thoughts are taking us somewhere else. So you don't know what you are doing, but you are just eating. So it is all unaware, unconscious living. And
I was doing a small training on mindfulness, and I asked a random question to the group saying that how many of you remember the color of your brush? And a lot of people were shocked because they didn't realize. So it's so unconsciously we are doing these things.
So we are not never in the eating, we are never in the walking, we are never there. So meditation helps you to become more aware, and you become more present to the moment. So that is what is happening in mindfulness.
Perfect. So finally, to all the viewers or people out there, if I have to ask you, say one or two major takeaways for a full flourished life, what would that be?
So, I mean, for me, when I started this formal journey into finding answers to these questions, I was not ready to accept this monotonous life. So morning you get up, same things you do till the end of the day, and you repeat this for so many years. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you do the same thing, and one fine day you just drop dead. You just die, and there is no, you don't have any idea how many years you have with you, but you still prefer to live this. You, in the sense, I am talking to the entire humanity, prefers to live this life in a very robotic way. That part was not something which I was ready to accept. That is how this entire thing happened. And my suggestion to anyone listening to this is, you need to know your real nature, who you are, why are you here, and what is your purpose. So until you come face to face with these kind of answers, the life is, the human life is wasted. So there is some difference between animals and humans. We have the discriminative wisdom, which is like intellect, or a discriminating faculty inside you, so which can differentiate between ignorance and what is truth. So this element, if you are not utilizing as a human, then you are wasting this entire birth. So until and unless man finds his purpose of life, and what is life and what is death, and why is all this happening, and what is his role, what is he in reality. So all these things need to be answered in this lifetime. That is when I would say it's a successful life. It's a successful life. Otherwise you just lived a life robotically without knowing anything, and one fine day you are not there. So you're being a manager of a company, you're being a husband to a wife, you're being a parent to a child. So these are all responsibilities that have come to you in this journey called life, but that is not who you are in reality. So that is an additional thing which is there, which again has come to you, or you are blessed and you need to enjoy and celebrate. But at the same time, your primary focus has to be on deciphering the code of your life. So unless you do that justice, one day you will regret. So I am not saying that everyone will regret. Many people don't even know, and they just finish this life. But many people I have seen in this past few years, people whom I have met, people who are in the old age, most of them have regrets about not going into this early in their life. And now they are retired, and now they don't have most of the family members with them, and that is when they start looking and asking for answers. And now their body doesn't support, now their mind doesn't support. You are weak in your mind and body, and you run behind correcting and you are finding remedies for your sickness, and you don't have the time and energy
To
to
explore
pursue this biggest goal of your life. So the earlier the better. So nowadays when youngsters come to me, I say, so 20-year-old, 18-year-old, 23-year-old, when they come, so it is very good because they get a lot of time and they have the energy to explore. And best part is that the goal of this, or the result of this entire process, you can enjoy in this lifetime. Otherwise, the result also you will get at a point when you can't enjoy.
Cherish it.
You can't cherish that. So you need to start early. You need to give this priority. So for people generally, even you are coming from a training coaching background yourself, as a passion you do, personal development is people's last priority. Nobody wants to work on themselves. Everyone wants to correct the other person. So spirituality, meditation, and all these things are about looking within yourself and transforming yourself into a higher consciousness,
which in turn will better others also.
so that is the only way you can better others, because in reality there are no others. So other is so when you see some problems or some shortcomings in other person, say your wife or your kid, that is not a shortcoming in them actually. So it is just a reflection, and the reflection is shown to you so that you can correct yourself. Many people are finding fault in the mirror and trying to wipe the mirror.
It's one of those movies where we have seen that.
So when you see that the mirroring is happening, you are being shown that defect through somebody, even without their knowledge. So most of the times they don't know why they are doing this to you. So it is not that deliberate. So if a wife is getting angry on a husband, or a boss is getting angry, they are not doing it deliberately. Existence is showing you some gaps within you which you need to correct. So the moment we try to stop this correcting others and just try to find yourself, inside, you just do that remedy, you will see magically that this situation outside changes. So this is the answer to your question when you said sometimes a negative thing becomes a positive thing. This in long term you will see that the person itself has changed, and you will wonder what happened. I didn't do anything and she just changed, or he just changed. So the work has to happen
on you,
inside your own self. So that is the, you asked me for one or two, what is the takeaway. So takeaway is to start, even if you haven't started till now, whatever age you are, you start. You start your journey now, in the present. Second thing is, try to become and live a more aware, full, conscious life, rather than a limited mind, related, short, discriminatory life. Yeah, that's the message.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.